Hello, everyone, and many thanks for joining this stream. Today is 3rd of September. Now it's 11 o'clock in the morning, Moscow time, and I have prepared quite a number of news for this update on major developments that Russian media and public is paying attention to. And I hope you will find it informative, interesting, and useful. And if so, dear friends, please like the video, share the video if you can on your social pages. It might help to reach wider audience, and leave some commentary, especially if you are watching this video on YouTube, for example. After stream answer comment section is going to be open at that moment, and well, please leave some commentary, what you make of today's live stream. Give me some rating, by the way, from 1 to 10. That will count for a comment too, and that will be good feedback, by the way, to me. After a new segment, as always, I will join for a little while community chatter. And if you have any question, dear friends, that you want to ask her, or if you have a commentary that you want to be highlighted in the news in a question time segment, please use capital letters so that I will spot it easier. And of course, you can use super chat feature on my Rumble channel. By the way, I'm streaming simultaneously on YouTube and Rumble, so you can use a super chat feature or rant feature on Rumble to send your comment or the question, and I will definitely won't miss that. Okay, that's been said, dear friends, a lot of news to unpack, so let's start our news segment now. And first of all, let me give you this report. And of course, one of the main topics, if not the main topic here today, is 80th anniversary of the victory in the Second World War. And there was a massive parade, by the way, massive celebration in Beijing, where Russian President Vladimir Putin is at this moment. And well, let me give you some details, by the way. Probably many of you have seen videos of the parade. A lot of military equipments, a lot of tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, drones, and there was air show too. So it's a large-scale parade that was held in Beijing, capital of China, to celebrate 18th anniversary of their victory in World War II. Ceremony was attended by Russian President Vladimir Putin, Chinese President Xi Jinping, DPRK leader Kim Jong-un, and the heads of the states and the government from 24 other countries, by the way. So big delegations are in Beijing now to celebrate this great day. And once again, this is yet another reason to remember, dear friends, all the atrocities that was committed not just by Nazi Germany on the European continent, also in Africa, but by Japan too. And Japanese fascists, by the way, during the Second World War, killed at least about 20 million people. In China, in Korea, in all the other occupied areas, they were treating people horribly bad, by the way. Some might argue that, well, Japanese were treating people even worse than Nazi Germany was doing. So it's an 80th anniversary, thanks to a generation of our grandfathers and great-grandfathers. We had the opportunity to celebrate this victory, and we have opportunity to live itself, to have this life and be alive, right? So great gratitude to everyone who fought for us during the Second World War. Putin, as already mentioned, took part in anniversary military parade in Beijing. And he, after the military parade, by the way, Russian president had a meeting with the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un. Sides discussed bilateral relationships, and these relationships are improving very rapidly, by the way, very rapidly. And it seems like North Korea is actually opening for Russia. North Korea is opening step by step, little by little, but opening its borders, opening its economy for Russia. And the process continues, by the way. Tens of billions of investments from Russia are going to flood North Korea, and in 10, 15 years' time, this republic would not be recognizable. That's how tremendous positive changes are going to be. Also, dear friends, while I'm talking about this great celebration that was done in China, we have this report that China abolishes visas from Russians from September 15, which is also a great deal, by the way. Russian citizens had the opportunity to travel in China without any any special difficulties or extraordinary difficulties, but well, now there will be no visas, by the way, so people will cross the border without wasting any much time for visas, and I guess Russian tourists can flood China, right? If there was a certain level of Russian tourism in China, now I guess tourist companies will do a great deal of advertising everywhere they can, right? And to make some buck, by the way, and they will encourage Russian citizens even more to travel to China. And yes, it's going to be beneficial, by the way. There is a lot of tourists from China here in Russia, and the Russian tourists will go in China and get to know local culture, history better, people, right? So it's all good. And on the sidelines of this celebration of 80th anniversary of victory in the Second World War, well, there was an episode when Russian president met with the president of Azerbaijan. Earlier, dear friends, there was speculations that there might be some negotiations between the two leaders on the sidelines of Shanghai Cooperation Organization that took place just a few days ago in Tianjin city of China, but such a meeting did not take place. And today, on the sidelines of this celebration, two leaders met each other and they shared a handshake, but that's all. Let me show you a video, dear friends, of that meeting. Here, Aliyev was talking to, I believe, President of Serbia, and if I'm not mistaken, representative of Indonesia. I might be wrong on that, but this is definitely President of Serbia, Vučić there. And at this point, and exchange our handshake, and that's it. That's it, by the way. It seems like Russian president not in a mood to forget and definitely not in a mood to forgive escalation from Azerbaijan against Russia on orders of London, by the way. If this escalation was due to some misunderstanding between the sides, right? That's a different story. Sides could talk out from their misunderstanding, right? But because Baku or leadership of Azerbaijan acted, I believe, on behalf of
completely different,
London,
but
under the orders of London, by the way. Therefore, I don't think relationships gonna get any better anytime soon between the sides. If ever, as long as Azerbaijan is led by Aliyev, by the way, he cannot be trusted. So many red lines have been crossed. But this is my personal opinion, by the way. I will remind you that despite harsh statements from Azerbaijani side, hostility from Azerbaijani side, Russian diplomats, Russian officials were always very cautious in the statements, very diplomatic in the statements. But nevertheless, as it expected, by the way, from high-level politicians and the diplomats, but nevertheless, I think relationships between Moscow and Baku will not go back to normal until Aliyev is in power there. My personal opinion. Okay, dear friends, let's continue with some other news. And well, Trump was not happy, dear friends, with this celebration of 80th anniversary in Beijing, this massive celebration. And he come up with a claim that Russia, China, and North Korea are conspiring against the U.S. Let me give you some details. So, President of U.S. Donald Trump has accused China, Russia, and North Korea of conspiring against the U.S. He made the remarks on his Truth Social platform. I mean, this is new normal, by the way, when all sorts of social platforms being used for communication by at least number of leaders, by the way. And thanks God, Russian president is not doing this kind of stuff, man. But a U.S. president does, right? Which is not normal. Yet again, if he was some blogger or I don't know, man, some political commentator, okay, who cares? But he is a president of a major economical and military superpower, and to communicate with the world through social platforms, it's not okay. You have a press service. You can arrange a press conference anytime you want and make your statements then and there, right? Not through these freaking social platforms, but I mean, anyways, man, this is quite telling, by the way, about degradation of political class in US or in the collective West in general, by the way, right? Another indicator of that. Anyways, he made these remarks on his Truth Social platform during a military parade in Beijing on Wednesday, marking the victory of the Japan in World War II. Many Americans died in China, Trump wrote in his Truth Social. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and their sacrifice. And I don't think Trump needed to say this, because no one is forgetting role that US or British or Australian or Indian or any other militaries from any other countries, by the way, play to defeat Nazi Germany and its allies, including Japan. We are not forgetting about it. It's Trump, by the way, and the Western so-called elites that are trying to rewrite basically history and ignore the role of Soviet people, crucial role of the Soviet people in victory in the Second World War, and this is unacceptable. But Trump can chill. We are not forgetting sacrifice that militaries and societies of other countries go through for this victory, right? He also wished Chinese President Xi Jinping a great and lasting day of celebration, before adding, please give me warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. I mean, very childish comment. What you will make of it, dear friends? This is I don't know. This is not a comment that some 80, almost 80, right? He's 79. This is not a comment that 79-year-old man should write. Man that has seen the life, right? But anyways, that's a Trump for you, right? And yes, he is wrong. He is wrong, by the way. If any side is conspiring against anybody, it's a collective West. It's a collective West, by the way, that is forcing the rest of the world to not just get together to defend itself, but also to kind of distance itself from the collective West that is tremendously hostile due to crazies, literally crazies, and morons and the despicable elements in the leadership of the collective West. It's just factual, right? You might like it or not, but this is just factual. Take a look at the history, by the way. I mean, all these world wars, by the way, and all their death and destruction in last number of centuries, at least, mainly is due to criminal activity of the leadership of the collective West. It's just history, right? And you cannot rewrite that. It's a history. And well, Russian side, by the way, Russian side reacted on this poster of Donald Trump with the allegation against Russia, in particular, also China and North Korea. And the aide of Russian President Yuri Ushakov called Trump's words about this attempted conspiracy against the U.S. Ironic, Yet again, Russian side is so freaking diplomatic, isn't it? So diplomatic. Sometimes this is irritating. This extreme level of politeness and in comments sometimes is irritating. By the way, maybe these hostiles don't deserve this level of politeness, even though, yes, I mean, Russian leadership, including Yuri Ushakov, by the way, they have great school of education, obviously. They went through great school of experience, right? Before they reach current levels, current high levels, and they're not going to change. By the way, they are operating in a way that they fit it necessary and correct. And it's good, by the way, it's good that Russian politicians are demonstrating this high class, right? But nevertheless, you will agree with me probably that this extreme politeness sometimes can be irritating, right? Anyways, let me give you a little more details. There we have a quote from Ushakov. I think Donald Trump said, not without irony, that supposedly these three are plotting against the United States. I won't say that no one was plotting, no one was waving anything. The Kremlin spokesman stated yes, yet again, I mean, if anyone is playing destructive role in this on this planet is collective West, by the way, first and foremost, right? And that has to be addressed if we want to deal with all the other issues that world is facing. And well, it is interesting that Trump forget to mention India. By the way, he mentioned China, Russia, North Korea. He could mention many other countries, including India, that he kind of hates nowadays, right? Well, it's good that he didn't mention India. Maybe someone instructed him or lectured him how to behave with New Delhi. I don't know, but when he hears this news, he's not gonna get any more happier. So we have a report, by the way, that Russia and India discussing possibility of expanding S-400 supplies, and S-400 is, of course, Russian one of the, or if not the best air defense systems that there is in the world. Maybe only another Russian air defense system, S-500, is better. Not maybe, that S-500 is better than this, but in the West, there is nothing even to compare with the S-400, and India seems like are very happy with the work of S-400 during the recent confrontation with Pakistan, and they want more S-400s to be supplied from Russia. Negotiations already have started on that, and it's not just air defense systems, by the way. Russian and Indian militaries are cooperating for decades. Russian military-industrial complex and Indian military-industrial complex have a long history of cooperation, and this will continue no matter how much Washington or any other Western capital would like to see destruction of this warm, friendly, strategical relationships between Moscow and New Delhi. And dear friends, before I continue with some other news, and there is a lot to discuss there, let me just highlight that if you like my work, you can support through PayPal platform, dear friends. If also Boosty platforms, if you want to see this project being saved and maybe even further developed. Also, you can subscribe on my Patreon page, where I have a lot of extra content on a regular basis. Lately, I began publishing second news updates, and there are extras, basically, literally on every weekday. Also, dear friends, you can support, you can subscribe not just to my Patreon, but if you don't like Patreon for whatever reason, you can subscribe to my Boosty page. I'm publishing same stuff on both my pages. There, links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment, and during the live stream. So right now, that is, whenever I am on air, you can use the super chat feature on Rumble to donate, and also you can become premium subscriber on Rumble. This is also option. All support counts, dear friends. Thanks to you, I'm able to maintain this project for 3 years already, isn't it? And thank you very much. Thank you very much for this support. Many thanks to everybody who supported and continues to do so. That's been said, dear friends. Let's continue with some more news now. And what is next? Next is this report from RIA Novosti that air defense forces on duty intercepted 105 drones that were launched by Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky to strike deep into Russian territory. I can give you some specifics on that. During the past night, from 2300 hours, that is from 11 o'clock yesterday late evening to 7 o'clock this morning, Moscow time, air defense systems on duty intercepted and destroyed 105 Ukrainian aircraft type unmanned aerial vehicles. 25 drones were intercepted over the territory of Rostov region, 24 drones over the Bryansk region, 20 in the Krasnodar region, 15 in over the Black Sea, 10 in Kaluga region, 8 in territory of the Republic of Crimea, 2 drones over the waters of Azov, and 1 drone over the territory of Smolensk region. Quite a wide geography of this attempted long-range strikes deep into Russia, which is unfortunate, of course, but yet again, as long as this conflict continues, globalists and globalist control regimes in the collective West, especially in Europe, will continue to provide the regime and their specialists on the ground with this long-range strike capabilities. And well, Russian air defense systems are on lock and ready, by the way, to deal with these aerial targets. And vast majority of drones are intercepted on regular basis. Also, TASS news agency is reporting that Russian armed forces liberated Fyodorovka settlement in DPR. This is a southern flank of Seversk city, dear friends, and because just a couple of days ago, head of Russian General Staff Valery Gerasimov reported about battles inside the Seversk itself, and many experts assume that Russian troops entered the Seversk from the northern flank. And now we have a report about Russian progress in the southern flank. Well, one might assume that soon Russian troops will enter Seversk from the southern sectors also, and hopefully in next week or two. It might take a little longer, but eventually, of course, Seversk will be completely liberated, as all the other villages, towns, and bigger cities in a DPR. Also, TASS news agency is reporting, and this is yesterday's report, dear friends, about previous 24 hours, that during that period of time, Kiev regime's forces lost about 1,300 military personnel on the battlefield all along the front line. And this is members of our community who watches my updates on daily basis. They know that this is a usual level of casualties on the side of Kiev regime, 13 to 1,500 military personnel on daily basis, which is a horrific number, of course, of the casualties. But that's what happens when there is a high intensity conflict on the ground, and all these losses, all this destruction could be avoided, by the way, if not a destructive role of the Western ruling class, right? That first basically destroyed the Budapest memorandum while inviting Ukraine into NATO. That happened officially in 2008, right? Then very same Western so-called elites orchestrated bloody coup d'etat in 2014 in Kiev, and provoked eventually, with the constant escalation, provoked this proxy war that they are actively engaged now against Russia. All this could be avoided if Western ruling class behaved adequately. But unfortunately, there are no adequate people among Western leadership. RT is also reporting that Kiev wants largest Christian denomination in Ukraine on Kiev-controlled territory to be banned, by the way, completely. They terrorize Russian Orthodox, they terrorize Ukrainian Orthodox people. They tortured many churches, by the way, many Orthodox churches, destroyed, blew up, burned down, right? Many priests have been arrested. And now, after this terror campaign, they want to completely ban on a legislative level Orthodox Christianity in Kiev-controlled territory, which is insane, right? Which is absolutely insane, and that's their regime, by the way. That's the terrorist criminal regime that Western elites are supporting. This evil force that Western so-called elites are. That's who they are supporting, and basically, not surprisingly, of course, evil force will support evil ideas and evil elements that they have implemented in the Kiev-controlled territory, and they are attacking Orthodox Christianity now. So authorities in Kiev have filed their case with Ukraine's top administrative court to have the Ukrainian Orthodox Church legally dissolved. Since the escalation of the Ukrainian conflict in February 2022, Vladimir Zelensky's government has taken increasingly hard line against the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, seizing several of its properties and opening criminal cases against a number of its clerks. And it's not just 2022, by the way. Since 2014, Orthodox Christians were attacked. And CIA and other criminal organizations, terrorist organizations from the West, encourage Kiev regime to create their own church. I mean, this is not the way things work, actually. But yes, that's what they did, by the way. They created their fake church, right? And they are claiming now that this fake organization to be their, actual Orthodox Church, which is, insane, right? That is a sin. What they committed, by the way, is a sin, unforgivable sin in Christianity, right? And for a reason, by the way, among all the Orthodox churches, over a dozen Orthodox churches in this world, only few, Greek Orthodox Church and Patriarch of Constantinople, acknowledged that fake church that Kiev regime created with the assistance of its Western backers as a legit. No Orthodox churches in this world actually acknowledge that. Of course, Russian Orthodox Church didn't acknowledge them to be Christians, to be legit. Georgian Orthodox Church didn't acknowledge them. And by the way, Georgian Orthodox Church is one of the oldest, if not the oldest Orthodox churches in this world, right? And what Georgian Patriarch have to say is very important. And Georgian Orthodox Church says, no way, by the way. No way. This is not the way Orthodox Christianity operates, right? Yet again, evil force that Western ruling elites are doing evil things, and they are attacking Orthodox Church big time on Kiev-controlled territory, and they want to ban it. It would not work, of course, by the way, because church is based on beliefs of the people, right? If people don't believe, then the church would not exist, and they're not gonna force people, at least majority of the people on Kiev-controlled territory, to commit sin and either transfer to this fake Orthodox Church that they created, or to get rid of their believer entirely. It's not happening. It's just not happening. But I would like Western societies to know, by the way, what kind of evil their so-called elites are supporting in this so-called Ukraine. RT is also reporting that a suspected killer of Ukrainian neo-Nazi MP denies working for Russia. Dear friends, I reported a couple of days ago that one of the leading figures in Ukrainian neo-Nazi fascistic movements, Parubey, who was at one point speaker of the parliament there in Ukraine, called Rada, was killed in Lvov, western Ukrainian city. And straight away, based on information that was available, including the information that shooter executed this neo-Nazi with 8 shots, right? With he shot him 8 times, right? That was initial reports, and I said straight away, I mean, this did not look that professional did it, right? Because professionals, in my understanding, will use maybe 2 shots, 1 in the body, 1 in the head, maybe 3 shots max, just in case, 2 in the body, 1 in the head. Not eight shots, by the way. It's just a waste of time, right? And the bullets, really. And therefore, I said straight away that even though Kyiv regime will most likely blame Russia for killing of this neo-Nazi criminal, and I would have no issue, by the way. I would say great job if Russian security services were involved in some ways to eliminate this neo-Nazi mass murderer. But I said straight away, it does not look that professional was operating there, right? And this is exactly the case. This is exactly their case. Suspect of this murder was arrested by Kyiv regime's forces, and reporters, while this suspect was brought to court, so-called court on Kyiv-controlled territory, there were reporters there, and they began pounding this person with questions about his potential connections with the Russian secret services and this and that. And he said in Ukrainian, by the way, so-called Ukrainian, to all those reporters that he was operating on his own, and this was a vendetta, his own personal vendetta against the regime, and Russia has nothing to do with it. Let me give you some details on that. The suspected killer of the permanent Ukrainian far-right politician Andrei Parubey has denied any links to Russia, stating that the murder was an act of personal revenge against the country's authorities. Parubey was shot 8 times on a Saturday on a street in the western Ukrainian city of Lvov. The attacker fled the scene but was apprehended by Ukrainian law enforcement on Monday. The suspect, identified as a 52-year-old Lvov resident Mikhail Stelnikov, appeared in a court on Tuesday. The alleged killer received an opportunity to speak to reporters about the motives behind the attack and claimed he had not had a specific grudge against Parubey. And we have a quote from him: "Yes, I have killed him. He was close. If I lived in Vinnytsia, it would have been a Petya." The suspect stated, apparently referring to former Ukrainian President Pyotr Poroshenko. Stelnikov denied allegations that he had been recruited by Russian intelligence to kill Parubey, describing the claim as untrue. Earlier media reports suggested that Stelnikov has been contacted by Russian special services through social media as he tried to learn the fate of his son, a Ukrainian serviceman presumed killed in the Battle of Bakhmut, during the Battle of Bakhmut. And another quote here: "All I want now is for the verdict to be announced sooner, and I want to ask to be exchanged for prisoners of war so that I can leave for Russia and find the body of my son," the suspect said. So he had some personal reasons, by the way. His son, allegedly, because he has no information what had happened to him, probably Kyiv regime described his son as a missing or deserted, by the way, as they do quite often, not to pay compensations to the family members of the killed military personnel. And he had personal motives to be angry on this Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky. And now his hope is that he will be exchanged during the POW exchanges, and then he will have opportunity to at least learn some more about his son. Maybe this will happen, although I don't know. I don't think so. Probably neo-Nazis will kill him in a prison. But I don't know. That's the story, by the way. That's the story behind this neutralization of Ukrainian neo-Nazi. And I will just remind you, dear friends, that Parubey is a former parliamentary speaker and a long-time MP in so-called Ukraine. Was known for his hardline ultranationalist and neo-Nazi views. He took an active part in 2004 Orange Revolution, so-called, and then in the 2014 Maidan coup d'etat, where he coordinated far-right groups of violent and armed protesters. By the way, reports are, and video footage is suggesting also, that I shared on my Telegram and Twitter X page just like a couple of days ago, that he was actually engaged in orchestrating this sniper fire on civilians and law enforcement officers on Maidan, as a result of which about 100 people were killed, by the way. And then this murder of so many people was used as justification for a coup d'etat. So Parubey, he was orchestrating that sniper fire, by the way, right? That was a false flag operation. And I'm quite sure Western secret services were involved in that, because even before that sniper fire happened, I was commenting on whatever social platforms I had at the time that such a stuff might happen, sniper fire, which will then be used to justify overthrowing the government. And I had reasons to believe that this would happen, because our whole this coup d'etat was orchestrated by Western secret services, right? US secret services, British secret services, and so on. And I remember quite well what they did in one of the Baltic states, right? Where they're also during the end times of Soviet Union, basically, when they also orchestrated a sniper fire, right, on civilians. And there is even videos, by the way, when one of the organizers is admitting that. Hello, everyone. I hope you find informative and useful this short clip from main news update. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything. It might help to deal with the algorithm and reach wider audience. And if you like my work in general and want to support to save this media project, you can assist through several ways. You can donate to this project through PayPal platform or Boosty, also with the crypto currencies, or you can subscribe to my Patreon page and page on Boosty, where I have quite a lot of extra content on regular basis. All the links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. And of course, many thanks to everyone who already helped and continues to support. Thank you.